You guys are the worst.
Just be careful.
But what kind of show would they? After Spee-Wee spin-off attempt, the boys thought they would join forces. But what kind of show would they do? And then it hit them. They would do one of those shows where two guys shared an apartment. There was only one problem. It was a hotel for convenience store employees only. Now, during the daytime, Western Canada knows them as Dave and Rybo, two mild-mannered convenience store clerks. But in the evening, the rest of the world knows them as Spee-Wee and Rybo, two guys willing to dress up as women to make you laugh and piss your pants. Wow. Now that's a great idea for a show.
Would you please welcome from a place called Winnipeg? I've been here at gas stations. I've been learning about tires. I've been talking to grease monkeys. I've been working on cars.
Oh, jeez.
Moonshine, sour fruit, most of it too. Run back to Saskatoon. Red tin tears of innocent hat. Sing another prairie tune.
Oh my God.
Sing another prairie tune. I've been hanging around libraries. I've been learning about books.
Oh man. That
Rod
was
Stickler's on
absolutely-
fire.
Rod Stickler is one of the greatest guys ever. I mean, that was absolutely fucking hilarious, man. That was so
that
great.
was more funny than Bosom Buddies, the original. If I do say
Definitely
so.
more funny than a Gaddis Candace bit for sure as well. And speaking of which, here he is. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No. Welcome to Winnipeggers, episode 60.
Wow.
Amazing to see you guys. And we're going to be honest. We're full disclosure here with the Winnipeggers, as always. Yesterday, we realized if we don't track today, we wouldn't have a show for the next couple weeks. So we
Right.
basically threw this together as quickly as we could. But it's still going to be good because we work fast. We work quick. We got a great support system. Stacy is awesome. And let's just talk quickly about a little bit of an issue that we had last week with bad videos. And we thought that if we did the bad videos and just had the visual and not the audio playing, that we'd be fine.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not what happened. So we basically had to put up some really bad graphics to hide the fact that you guys couldn't see the videos. Still a hilarious show. I mean, people have been raving about this show.
Yeah.
But kind of a surprise, though. We thought we could get away with it, but we did not. We did not do that.
We could maybe get Stickler to redo all the videos, but with our faces, and then maybe that would be okay.
Well, it's too late. It's already aired. What are you talking
Oh, that's
about?
right. That's right. It's aired not tomorrow.
We could
but
do the
actually last week.
We could do the expanded edition, though, if we wanted to. But anyways, so if you guys are kind of wondering, because we didn't really get a chance to explain that to you guys, that's what happened. But hey, that's what the Winnipeggers do. We go with the flow.
Yeah,
And,
there's
we
rules
make,
on there's rules on YouTube. It's out of our control. We tried to give you the reel, but you're getting something. It's still really good. It's still a very good show.
It's fun. It's fun stuff. Absolutely, absolutely. Dave, be honest with you. I know it's been a couple weeks since we were able to get together on this, and I know there's been some issues that have been bothering you, and I think it's time for right out of the gate a little bit of. Oh, see, I told you.
Dave's rant. He's really pissed. It's excellent. Dave's rant. Let's watch him lose his shit.
I've been bothered about Southern accents. When you're not from the South, and I'll just give you an example. There's, sometimes, as musicians will go down to the U.S. and play some shows, and maybe you go down to Texas or somewhere in the deep South, and you come back to Canada and you never lose that accent. And you start singing with the accent, and you're saying y'all all the time. And that's just got to stop. We got to keep the Canadian thing. You're never going to hear the DSP, the Dave Spivak Project. You're never going to hear me sing with a southern drawl, or what is that a word? And with the accent, it's going to be very Canadian. Oh my God. You know, and then malfunctions on video can drive you just apeshit crazy. I'm not a big fan of flies. I was out at the family cabin again on a little trip, and flies really bother me. And they're around, always buzzing, and they're always in your face. And you know, I'm not really a piece of shit. You know what I mean? You can just get it. You don't have to come around me all the time. I'm not a bad guy. I've donated to charities and such, and I'm nice. I'll talk to people. As long as the fans aren't using
no respect at all.
Yeah, you know, as long as the fans, I love the family, but if you're not using capitals, I'm good. I don't like how are you. I get a lot of how are yous. Just a basic question. Do you really want to know? Because you wouldn't be able to handle it. And when people, you know, those occasional people you meet in life that do tell you how they are, oh my God, we didn't really ask. Okay, it was just a term of endearment. We're just being friendly. That's all it is. I don't like Brent and Brett. I never know that thing. When I meet somebody Brent or Brett, is it Brett? Is it Brent? And I always screw it up. It doesn't matter. And then they get so offended. It's like, well, why are you so offended? I mean, your name's so close with Brett or so close with Brent. I'm not a big fan of that. Who dis? What the hell does that mean? I'm talking to somebody who dis? Well, it's me, Dave. What a waste of time that was. That's sort of like feeling cute might delete later. That's kind of in the same weird little realm. I'm sick of that. The gas gauge can go, you know, suck a D. I'm not a fan of seeing that thing going all the way down to E and then thinking, okay, maybe I can get another 40 kilometers, you know, and that can run you into a lot of trouble when it's not just you on the road if you're trying to test the gas gauge. That didn't happen on this trip, but that has happened to me before. Forgetting things bothers me. I don't like forgetting things. It's a big deal. Forgot some keys at the cabin. Had to add another 4 hours to our already like 8-hour trip.
No, that must have driven you nuts to have to drive back to pick up your keys.
I have a new way of dealing with the anger, though. I just hold my breath, which also bothers me when I hold my breath because I can't breathe. I don't like that. But I mean, it was one of those things you just have to go and you gotta do it and get back and hope for the best. Yeah. Ooh, what a brutal thing to forget keys and have to drive another 3.5 hour round trip to go get them. But that's life. If you want to be out in the wild and you want to have some sense of freedom, only dead men are free. But we're
dead men tell no tales as well,
right?
We're close second.
Yeah. So, you know, the little theme with the cabin, the campfire smoke, that can go away. You know, you try your best to burn the right wood, and there's always somebody puts a wet piece of wood or some inexperienced fire person,
or the fire's tire on it or something.
Yeah, or a tire trying to make a statement in a video on YouTube.
David Suzuki's going to lose it.
Yeah. Right now. I didn't quit. I just ran out of money. You can check it out online. And the fire smoke and then you're supposed to say something like, Ryan, maybe you can help me. Is it like white rabbit or something?
Yeah,
is that what you say to get the
white rabbits? I hate white rabbit.
Yeah, or white rabbit. It never works. It just
Candyman. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. It's supposed to take the smoke and it does. Maybe it's not going to come near you if you say it. But the funny thing is, it's always somebody that tells you that. You're always sitting dead in the smoke. Your eyes are just bleeding. Say white rabbit. It's like they just want you to stay there so you can, just die from the smoke, I guess.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty
outdoor stuff. It's just a lot of stuff, man. There wasn't a lot of mosquitoes this time, which is nice. But when there's not a lot of mosquitoes, there's a ton of wasps. So you can't win. You can't win.
We ain't talking about Blackie Lawless.
No, that's true.
That's true.
You don't want to take over the show or anything like that. But Rybo, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, but the Brent, Greg, Craig, and Ryan, Brian.
Yeah.
I almost every time I say, "Hey, my name's Ryan," they always say Brian, like 95% of the time. And I bet the Brian's out there. Maybe you guys can, email Dave or something and let him know if
follow protocol.
If they always call you Ryan. Because what I say is, is it Brian? I said, well, actually, it's Ryan, but the B is silent.
Well, I can do you one better, and that is that I have friends, Dave knows them, called the Foxes, and
Yeah.
they're called Brian and Ryan. They're a married
Right.
couple. And when I first met them, it's a guy and a girl, and it's Brian and Ryan. I said, well, which one is Ryan? And they looked at me like I was an idiot because
right.
Ryan
Oh,
could be a
obviously.
girl's name or a boy's name, but Brian pretty much is a boy's right up the ladder. So I say, this is Brian and Ryan. And I say, which one is Ryan? They're like, her, because there's no such thing as a girl named Brian,
Named
you
Brian,
fucking
yeah.
moron.
Right.
Not
So-
yet, but there never used to be such a thing as a girl named Ryan either. Like,
Right.
Well,
That's
I
a
think
little
it's kind of an Irish name. I've heard that before. It's Irish.
Yeah, I've heard it once or twice. There's like a girl's name could be Bobby. Dave, you don't have anything. No one can say what
No.
was that?
Chris. Chris could be a
Trish.
girl's name.
Chris, Trish.
Yep.
But again, girl.
Well, Chris- There's girls named Chris. Yeah.
So my name's Chris. Is that Trish? So
All right, and that leads us right into our next bit here, guys. There's some huge updates, so it's time to just get right into it.
wow.
So I don't know if you guys have seen on YouTube, which this is huge. Nobody told me there'd be days like these, and I ain't talking about Jan Lennon. I was looking at some Winnipeggers to kind of watch through and check the numbers. I'm a big numbers guy. Check the numbers. And there's ads now on YouTube for the Winnipeggers. And we're not talking like our ads, which we have a great sponsor today. We're talking actual like Stars Network. And like there was an alcohol ad and an auto trader ad and some kind of like Zentrek ad or something like that. And I couldn't believe it. And I said, what's going on here? And we have now reached the plateau on this is, you guys might not even know. So this is not a gag, as we say in show business, guys. We've reached the plateau of viewers that they're now putting ads into our show.
That we're not adding ourselves.
that's
Right. No,
Because
the
those don't
actual,
pay.
like, just, yeah.
Those
Yeah.
don't pay
Those,
at all. The ones
well,
we
they
do,
back in the pandemic when Speedy was hustling for a couple bucks, he was going everywhere to Sean Branson and trying to get actual money. So we did make a couple $150 ads, but then we just started making our own. I don't think I'm talking out of school, guys. Some of those ads aren't real. Just saying that you see on our show, but these are real ads at the beginning. So we're actually now a money-making juggernaut here in Winnipeg, Winnipeggers. Because of our numbers, thanks to all you guys. So YouTube is just dropping. Now we're not approving these ads.
Right.
So if something comes on that you don't like, don't blame us because we're not like saying, hey, you can have a Zyrtec ad on our show. But they're in there. Then you guys are just sitting there like, and when I told you, you're very.
Well, I don't know.
nonchalant.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
I mean, it sounds really promising.
yeah, it's really
Wait,
like, I mean, I'm checking the mailbox every day and there's nothing. There's just bills.
Well, the thing is,
that come there.
the checks were sent 3 months ago, so you got about another 3 months before you'll get them in Winnipeg. Right?
Yeah.
So
What is and that brings us some income too, just so the fans know, for the family knows.
Well,
Like,
the
and
ads,
that's
people buy ads to put on you. They buy ads from YouTube, and YouTube distributes them according to the views that you get.
right.
So we're now at the point where we're getting enough views where they're deeming it worthy to put ads in our show.
It's very exciting.
I'm glad
So
we're
then-
helping YouTube out. That's great.
Yes.
Man, I'll tell you what, we could get a $500 contract. You guys wouldn't even care.
We're just here for the drinks.
But there's actually some great ads. We got a great sponsor actually heard Rybo's rant and sent in their own ad in response. We're talking about Whirlpool. That's spelled WIRLPOLL or something. So don't try and flag us on this.
Right.
That's right.
Breaking down, leaving you and your...
Jeez, Irvest, get your
Are
shit
you
together.
tired of your washer and dryer constantly breaking down, leaving you and your clothes hung out to dry? Are you frustrated with hours and hours lost, hanging on the line, waiting to speak to some unsympathetic representative who doesn't know you from Adam and doesn't
Guys
give
got
a
no cock.
beep about you? Let's face it, are you sick of being ripped off and rolled over? No? You're not? Well, then Whirlpool appliances are for you. We
No,
guarantee you'll be back for more. More costly repairs, more visits from repairmen, more phone calls, more parts, more payments, more headaches, more bullshit. So call Whirlpool today and someone will eventually answer. We'll even book your first repair. See you next month, and the month after that, and the month after that, and the month after that, and the month after that.
Here's what I love about these commercials, is that mine are only passable because Stacy puts a modicum of effort into it. Dave's are always kind of just stock. And Rybo,
I don't have to do another 47 of them if you don't like.
Rybo's got animation. He's got moving pictures. He's got music. He's got voiceovers. He's only been doing this for like 2 weeks. He's already better than both of us put together, Dave. How does that happen?
Well, he actually got out of bed. You know, he showed up to work. I guess he can take over too, for all I care. All right, great for King Ryan. Brian Ryan.
Everyone loves Rybo, man. In the wild, he's the most popular too. So we actually have a little bit of an issue last week when, it was actually for the Idiot Olympics, and we talked about how we invited Ben Janssen to come on board. He basically told us to F off, and he ended up on the banned list, and that's exactly where he is this week. New banned list here, fake Jason Voorhees, Ben Janssen, Tawny Antle, Mocha Joe, Wayne Gretzky, and that son of a bitch, Bud Lindell, of course, Mr. Funny Pants himself. Ben Janssen, just total moron. We were not happy with him jogging us out last minute from his guest spot, which we bought and paid for, by the way. He didn't show up for the Olympics. I tried to get another Olympic gold medalist who sent hers in just a little bit after the show was done. So listen, here's the thing. This chick won a gold medal, and Ben Janssen won a gold medal and got taken away, and he jobbed us out, and Hayley Wickenheiser did not. The greatest female hockey player of all time and Canadian Olympic gold medalist who did not get stripped because of steroids, Hayley Wickenheiser.
Hayley Wickenheiser over here. I am just leaving a late shift at the hospital. Hope you guys are doing well over there in Winnipeg. Speewee, Rybo, and Irvass. I love it. I just got my stethoscope stuck in my hair. Hot mess over here. You want to know... Dark. You want to know the funniest Olympic moment. I don't know if I have a funniest Olympic moment, but one of the most fun Olympic moments that I have ever had is after winning the gold medal, jumping behind the kiosk at McDonald's in the Athletes Village and taking over, serving all the athletes of the world their fries, chicken McNuggets, and cheeseburgers, flipping burgers, etc., etc. So definitely the most fun being in the village, being with all the other athletes, and having a good time that way. So hopefully you guys are having a great Olympic discussion. I hope you really enjoyed the Tokyo Olympics and the Canadian performances of all the athletes. It was a record number. And thanks for cheering for Team Canada and the women's team for all these years. Good luck over there in Winnipeg, and go Leafs go.
Oh.
No.
Whoa.
She had us until she had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
But
cool,
listen, I mean, that's pretty cool, but maybe I could think of a lot more fun that the three of us could have after we won a fucking gold medal in the Olympic Village.
Yeah, totally.
It wouldn't be selling chicken McNuggets, I'll tell you that.
Dude, we'd steal the mascot. We'd be nasty.
We'd run through other sports.
The mascot.
We'd win the damn gold and run through we'd jump on the bobsled track. See what happens.
Our parents, Chris, took over a burger shop back in the day. They didn't win any gold medals for that. They got thrown in jail.
What do they do?
Story. What?
Is that our dads or our moms and dads?
We should have our dads on, and then we'll have the Winnipeggers. We'll have all our dads on.
I don't know if Joe.
And then we can have all our kids on too, and we can do mini peggers.
I don't know if Joe is available. He's a pretty busy guy. Joe College.
I don't know. He'd have to do his live stream from the Atom computer, so I don't know if the controller would work as well. I ran out of tape space.
How does this Commodore 64 work, Ryan?
Where's my paper?
Anyways, thanks to Hayley Wickenheiser, the greatest female hockey player of all time. And that leads us to stories of the rich and famous as we are 20 minutes in.
Good, because I got no material.
As per usual, Ryan has done zero prep. Nor have I, but I got lots of stories, so we'll be okay. The idea, Dave wrote this one, and what is the idea behind this one?
I was just, every crazy celebrity, a good crazy celebrity will have some crazy story. So, it could be a musician, it could be a movie star, just some stories of the rich and famous, I guess. But it's just, finding a bizarre story on one of them and going from there.
Okay,
I'm Robin Leach.
Well, Gabe, does Gabe have any comments for this, first and foremost, Rybo?
I don't know, but after it's funny you mention that, because after the idiot Olympics, he called me up, and I mean he was a little bit upset. Well, he was upset, really.
Okay, what happened?
He was kind of like, well, he called me up, I answered like, so little A-Hoff. Hey Gabe, how's it going? It's like, I see you did not represent me so strongly in the tongue twister event in the last Olympics. I was like, well, what do you mean, Gabe? It's like, I just so happen to be the master of all types of verse, including tongue twisters. So, and then he's like, he was upset because I didn't do the one that he did really good, and he was so on. He said it, and thank God we're on a phone because I didn't get sprayed.
That's right.
He's like, check this out. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could suck wood? A woodchuck as much wood as a woodchuck could when a woodchuck could suck wood. See, I'm a master. You want to go get a Slurpee? So that was it. He was kind of upset about it.
Slurpee's always in there.
Of course.
Drug filled.
Oh, sorry.
Drug filled.
Wasn't that from the Idiot Olympics as well? We had to say names backwards.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, I like it. Yeah, Clifford
I didn't
backwards.
get it.
Drug filled.
There you go.
Look at how Ryan's just watching him in that clip. Ryan's just beautiful in that.
All right, Dave, kick it off with a great story of the rich and famous here.
Okay, I got a Bob Dylan story that I've always just found extremely fascinating, and it's not that old. About maybe 2010, he was in Winnipeg, and he was playing at the MTS Center. And he ended up going out with his manager on the so-called kind of this underground Neil Young tour, because Neil Young as a teenager lived in Winnipeg and went to junior high and high school there, and then left from there to kind of make it. So there's a few homes that Neil and his mother had rented or lived in, etc. So you can kind of go to those, and there's the Crestview or the Crescentwood, Ryan Crescentwood Center or whatever, where they would have played or something. And anyway, so Bob Dylan goes to Neil Young's boyhood home on Grosvenor Avenue, and he's standing there looking up at the house with his manager, and he's in like snakeskin boots and leather. And the owner comes home, who happens to be a Dylan fan, and he comes home with groceries, and he just looks, and it's like, my God, Bob Dylan standing in my front yard. And Dylan's looking up at the third floor, which is what used to be the rental. So this guy knows, about Dylan, and he knows that he doesn't want to spook him, right? So he's like, oh, hey. And he goes, what are you doing here? And Bob's like, yeah, is this where Neil Young used to live? And he's like, yeah, back in the 60s. He lived here in the early 60s. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, would you like to come in and take a look? He goes, yeah, sure, I'd like that. So he comes into the house, and they go up into the top bedroom, which was Neil Young's, and now it's like a 7-year-old girl's, and it's all painted pink. And Dylan sits in this little single bed, and he looks out the window, and he says to the owner of the house, he goes, well, this must have been where Neil Young thought about writing songs and getting out of here. And then they had little tea, and then he just left, and it was all confirmed in the paper and everything. He was also incidentally staring out south towards Hibbing, Minnesota, which is like parallel from Manitoba, kind of in that way, which is kind of cool, and home of Bob Dylan. And then a month later, he rubbernecks outside of Bruce Springsteen's boyhood home and gets arrested for suspicion, because it's a bad area now where the boss grew up. And he doesn't have his ID, so they have to take him to his tour bus, where he goes in and gets his ID. Like, how nuts is this guy? He's probably like probably the biggest star, musician out there. He's so recluse, it's made him maybe even bigger. And he's just out there following other. He's a fan of other guys, and he's like, I have done that. Ryan and I have hung out in front of Neil's home a lot. We used to camp there, actually.
Yeah. Well, we were smart. We brought our ID with us. So.
Right. Yeah, so that was just, I just thought that was just a story that, I mean, I don't think it gets enough attention. You can Google that family. You take a Google, you can check it out. But there's a lot of info on there about it. It's a pretty cool story.
How cool would it be if he showed up at your house and you were just like, oh, Bob Dylan's standing outside your house, and it's like as if you wouldn't invite him in. It'd be, well, I'm just gonna bring my groceries in now.
Yeah.
Stay out there and admire the house from outside.
I give you a CD.
Okay, I got a story here. If I can find the right one, right there. There's a picture here that comes up on the screen if you guys can see it. And that is a picture of John Lennon, Anne Murray, Harry Nilsson, Alice Cooper, and Mickey Dolenz, aka the Hollywood Vampires, not Anne Murray, of course. And obviously, Anne Murray. Sorry, I wish I could make it bigger, but I'm not so great at that.
I
Anne
can make it
Murray.
bigger by getting closer, so it's okay.
There you go. That's the best I can do. So anyway, so Anne Murray, my friend Shep Gordon is Alice Cooper's one and only manager since 1969. And Shep is a very famous guy in the Hollywood scene, in the rock and roll scene. And he managed many people, including Groucho Marx towards the end of his career, Teddy Pendergrass. And he also was the first guy to start with the celebrity chefs with Emerald, whatever Emerald's name is, and kind of started that whole craze. So anyways, back when he was managing Alice in the early 70s, the record company that Alice was on said, you got to help us with this new upstart from Canada. Her name is Anne Murray. And he's like, okay, she's a really great singer. But she's super clean, super squeaky clean, and she's super boring. He goes, we need to get her some street cred. And Shep was like, well, what do you want me to do? And he goes, you got to get a picture with her and like Alice Cooper, because Alice Cooper's crazy. And at the time he had bit the head off a chicken and all this sort of thing. And Shep's like, how am I supposed to get a picture with Alice and Anne Murray? And he's like, I don't know, but you got to help us, Shep. We need to get this chick some street cred. So, Anne Murray's playing at the Troubadour, which, if you guys know anything about LA, Sunset Strip is up top. If you go down the hill, that's Santa Monica Boulevard. That's where the Troubadour is. So Shep is at the Troubadour where this guy says, can you help out? So Shep drives his car up to the Rainbow because he knows the Hollywood Vampires will be there. And the Hollywood Vampires were this gang of just fucking lunatics, drunks, drug addicts, whatever. And the key guys were Mickey Dolenz, Alice, Lennon, and Harry Nilsson.
Wow. And
if you go to the Rainbow to this day and go upstairs, you can see where they used to hang out. There's a little inscription. There's a little whittled out place on the wall. So Shep goes there and says, listen, you guys got to get in my car and come down to the Troubadour and take a picture. And they're like, what are you fucking talking about? No way. Like, we're drunk or doing drugs. We got so many chicks up here. It's like, you got to do me a favor. Alice, you got to do me a favor. And he can't go. I can't leave my friends. And so they argue for a little bit. And then John says, okay, here's the deal. If we go with you down to the Troubadour, you got to drive us anywhere we want to go in Hollywood for the next 2 weeks at any time or any place. That's what John says. So Shep goes, okay. So Shep takes him down to the fucking Troubadour, gets the picture with the four of them and Anne. They stay for literally 30 seconds to get the picture. And then John goes, okay, take us to Anaheim.
That's awesome.
Shep said he had to give him a ride for the next 2 weeks, but he got the picture and he got the record company's approval for whatever he wanted. So,
wow. Yeah. And she really came out to be just a hellion after that, eh?
Oh, yeah.
If you read the articles back at the time, it's like, who is this crazy Anne Murray hanging out with the Hollywood Vampire? She must be insane, but she's got the voice of a dove. So that gave her the street cred that apparently it lasted for, like you said, about a week, and then she went right back to being super, super boring.
Oh, man. Hilarious.
Oh, you got what you got.
Sold millions of records after that, too, being very boring.
Literally, one of Canada's most highest selling recording artists ever.
Crazy. So that's rich and famous. I was, there's little stories you could tell about Kanye and like Kim Kardashian when they had their child's first birthday. They rented Disneyland, the entire Disneyland.
Holy
how
cow,
much would that cost? Like, you'd have to pay at least what Disneyland makes in a day to rent it out. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Just because
that's
we're-
millions.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the little fucker's not going to remember any of that. He's
No, no.
The little fucker.
We got some good photos with Donald Duck or whoever, Goofy or whoever the fuck those are. But it's a couple good stories. One of my favorite ones, and I know you guys know this, but it's the Rolling Stones with Keith and Ronnie Wood when they were backstage and they were doing a bunch of drugs and stuff. And the manager called up, and this is during the 80s, and it said, "Hey, the police are here." And then they freaked out. They're like, "Holy shit!" So they flushed all their drugs down the toilet, and they were freaking out. And then moments later, Sting and Andy Summers walk in. Oh, the police!
Oh, I love that.
The best thing is Keith and Ronnie didn't know who they were and went, "All right, don't bust us, man."
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
And then Sting said, "How's your Willie, mate?"
Oh my
That
God.
is a great story.
I got another one. I don't know if you know about this, but Zappa, because I'm such a huge Zappa fan. You know, Dave talked about Bob, so I'll talk about Zappa. They in 1971 they played a show in I can't remember what it was, somewhere in Germany, I think, like that. And a crazed fan shot a flare gun off, and it went off, and it ended up blowing up the heating system of this venue, and the whole fucking thing burnt to a crisp. And like people were injured and stuff. You know, people got away. The concert obviously was over. And the next band that was supposed to play there was Deep Purple, and they were on their way there, and they just saw this smoke going across the water, across this lake, and they rode smoke on the water because of that. And it happened at a Zappa show.
That's in Montreux, Switzerland, hence the opening line. We all came into Montreux.
Right.
You guys are wondering what that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
and then 6 days later, Zappa's at a show. He's playing a show at the Rainbow.
Nice.
In
Callback,
London.
tie-in.
Right, it's in London, but still a Rainbow Theater. It's pretty cool. So loosely related. And they go up and they do their encore. And so this is 6 days later. He does an encore, and he does "I Want to Hold Your Hand" for some weird reason. He always has this kind of thing where he kind of mocked the Beatles, but he also like loved the Beatles. Like he did "I'm the Walrus," like full orchestral version, which is amazing.
Yeah.
If you can check it out on YouTube, it's pretty cool. But anyway, so they do that song, and this jealous fan gets up because I guess his girlfriend was attracted to Zappa, and gets up there and pushes him.
That's
Zappa
a first,
falls-
isn't it?
What's that?
Nothing. I said that's a first, isn't it?
Yeah.
I never saw him as a ladies' man. But.
No. Well, you know, he did all right. I think he did all right. He's got all kinds of stories about it. But anyway, this crazy fan pushes him like 15 feet, falls into the orchestra pit. He basically looks like his neck is broken. He gashed his chin. He's got a crushed larynx. He had a hole in the back of his head, a broken rib, fractured leg. One of his arms was paralyzed. Like they thought he was dead. He was in a wheelchair for a whole year. And after that, one of his legs was shorter than the other. And he actually has one of his songs is called "Dancing Fool," and he's got the lyrics are, "I don't know much about dancing. That's why I got this song. One of my leg is shorter than the other, and both of my feet's too long. I course along right along with them. I got no natural rhythm, but I go out dancing every night, hoping one day I might get it right." But anyway, so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I like how you said you had no stories. You got like 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Dave's chomping at the bit to get another one in.
No, those are great stories. That was nice. Nice show.
You got another one, Dave? I got another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Ozzy's on tour in Blizzard of Oz tour before Randy Rhoads passes away, and of course it's the famous band of Randy, Ozzy, Rudy, and Tommy Aldridge. So every time Tommy Aldridge got to a new town, because he'd already toured the States with Black Oak, Arkansas, he had a little black book, and if they went to freaking Memphis, he would get up at 9 a.m, look up M for Memphis. Someone would come pick him up, and you wouldn't see him until it was time for the show. And he said all Randy wanted to do was go take guitar lessons and stuff, so that Randy took guitar lessons. So it would just be Ozzy and the Roadies and Rudy Sarzo. And Ozzy, like Rudy didn't drink a lot, and Ozzy's like, "You're not crazy, Rudy. You're not fucking crazy. You're not fucking crazy." And guess Ozzy was super drunk, and super stoned and was just screaming at Rudy, "You're not crazy, you're not crazy." So Rudy said, "You want to see how crazy I am?" So Rudy goes and he takes a piss in the ice making machine. This is back in the day when you had those big ice machines, you pull the thing up, and he said he pissed in the ice and it would recycle. So he pissed in the ice machine, and he said like he really had to go. So it was quite a nice long pisky. And this is about 3, 4 in the morning. Ozzy's office rocks. Like, "You're crazy. You're fucking crazy, man." So they all go to bed, and Ozzy calls him like really early, like 8 in the morning. He's still awake. He's like, "Come here, come hang out with me, Rudy, or come work on this song, or do whatever it is." And Rudy's like, "Ozzy, I'm sleeping." He's like, "You gotta come, you gotta come." So Rudy goes into Ozzy's room, and Ozzy has orange juice on ice, and he's like, "Oh, I love having orange juice in the morning, man." And Rudy said, "I didn't have the heart to tell him that it was the ice machine that I had pissed in." That Ozzy then went and got the ice cubes and drank it with the orange juice and thought it was amazing. So
gross.
there you go.
They blend in when it's the yellow
You'd never
ice.
know. You'd never know.
Oh, how perfect is this? It's yellow ice. It's perfect.
It's made out of oranges, man.
Gross.
All right, Dave, you got a final story?
I don't. I
Okay.
don't really do. I mean, there's that one about Led Zeppelin and a fish, but we're not going to talk about that. I mean,
Hey.
we could,
That ties in with Zappa though, because Zappa has a whole album dedicated to that.
right.
Don't
Yeah.
forget, don't drink the yellow snow, so it ties in with my ice machine.
right.
Great call. Great call.
All right, I'll give you one more, and then we'll end it up. So the Cat House was super huge in the 80s, as you guys may or may not know, to where like in 1988 or so, it was the hot place to be. But the Cat House was only open on Wednesdays. So once a week, they would rent the club out for Wednesdays. But kind of in the early days of Guns N' Roses, they would play there. And as Guns N' Roses grew, so did the Cat House until about 88 or so. It was the place to go in Hollywood on a Wednesday night. And everybody would go. And it didn't matter who was playing. And it wasn't just rock stars. It'd be like whoever was hot at the time. Christina Applegate is here. Or David Faustino is here. Here, there's Pierce Brosnan. Or there's freaking, I don't know, name some names or whatever. So finally, Axl, the Guns N' Roses is playing. And they're really big right now. The video for It's So Easy, if you ever go see that, was filmed this night. They filmed a video for It's So Easy as the 4th or 5th video from Appetite. So while they're playing this video and playing this show, David Bowie shows up. And they would always put the real big stars in at the DJ booth because then they had no VIP, but that'd be an area you could go. So David goes in there and starts hitting on this chick. And he's hitting on this chick incessantly, and Cecily's David Bowie. Turns out it's Axl's girlfriend. So then Axl's girlfriend goes and tells tells Axl that David Bowie's been hitting on her all night. It's been very suggestive and kind of being outrageous with him. And this is kind of at the end of the night where David Bowie's now on the street. Axl breaks a bottle, smashes it, and then proceeds to chase David Bowie down Sunset Strip saying, "I'm going to kill you, motherfucker. I'm going to kill you." And Dave's like, "You got to catch me first." And they're running blocks of Sunset Strip. And Bowie takes a right to hide, and Axl takes the right. And he said they were chasing each other for like 15, 20 minutes and stopping, going, enough, fuck you. I'm going to fucking kill you. Axl and Bowie, until Bowie finally got into a taxi and escaped. But that was the night that David Bowie or Axl was going to murder David Bowie.
My God.
And he said at the time he could care less if it was David Bowie or the president. It's like, I don't give a shit. I'm Axl Rose. I'm bigger than all these motherfuckers. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has he ever grown out of that, or?
Don't talk about him. Don't talk about him. He'll ban us.
He's got the kill switch.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today and our thrown together Winnipeggers. I think we did a pretty good.
I've been talking to
Anything so? Turn down the sound.
I've been here at gas stations.
Oh, I love it.
All right, there we go. Got it.
I have those wigs somewhere.
Thanks to the great Rod Stickler
Van
for the
Horns.
amazing intro. To Hayley Wickenheiser, the greatest female hockey player of all time, for giving us a great story. No thanks to that son of a bitch Ben Janssen, who's banned from the Winnipeggers. It's going to take a lot to get him off that list. And no thanks to Whirlpool either. That's also spelled Wirlpool. So don't confuse it with any other appliance company. This one's down at down in East Albert Street.
East LA. East Albert Street.
Thank you so much, guys, and we appreciate it. Episode 60, can you believe it?
Wow.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Happy anniversary, guys. I think we
Yeah,
did
cheers,
the
guys.
last episode, but
Thanks to the corporation, and thanks to YouTube. Insert more ads into this show so we can continue to make big bucks to give you the high budget quality show. that
High
you're-
quality lighting and everything.
used to.
Thanks to the family, the fans, the family. We love you.
I'm gonna check
We
my
love you.
mailbox right away. I think we're done this.